Good morning, everybody. We're coming to you as something's going on in the Karen Reed case. We're going to jump to that.
All right. So, Mr. Lally, I'd like to hear from the Commonwealth first about doing thorough deliberations.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the last one.
I'd like to hear from the Commonwealth first about your view on whether the jury has conducted due and thorough deliberations.
Your Honor, while I understand that they have been at this for a while, I would submit that they have not, and I would ask the court not to make such a finding. Reasons for that, Your Honor, this jury heard, I believe, about 29 days or so of testimony, 657 different exhibits marked as evidence, 74 different witnesses who testified before them. And while I believe they've been out for somewhere in the vicinity of 22 or 23 hours, what I would submit to the court based on all of that, as well as the complexity of the issues presented to them, they really haven't even had 1 hour of deliberation equivalent to 1 day of testimony to each of the days of testimony that they've heard. So while they have been at it for a while, I would submit that based on the evidence and testimony and witnesses and the complexity of issues in this case, I would submit that they have not done a thorough deliberation up to this point.
Ms. Giannetti?
Our view is that it's time for Tui Rodriguez. They've come back now twice indicating essentially that they're hopelessly deadlocked. The content of this latest message is that they have been over all the evidence. Previous message said they did an exhaustive review. This time they said that they have fundamental disagreements about what the evidence means. And it's a matter of opinion. It's not a matter of lack of understanding. This court, when you sent the jury out, encouraged them not to take a straw vote, encourage them to go over all the evidence in a very methodical manner. I think all indications are that they've done that, and this is what Tui Rodriguez is for. We asked the court to get it.
Yeah. All right. I think this has been an extraordinary jury. I've never seen a note like this reporting to be at an impasse. I do find that they're now, with the additional time that they went out without coming back Friday saying that they were deadlocked, is doing thorough deliberation. So I'm going to give Tui Rodriguez. So are they ready to come in, Jody?
It's over, folks. It's over. We have a hung jury.
What a catch! He went way back,
So
deep into center field, made a leaping catch at the wall to end the game. Oh my God, I've never seen anything like it.
Yeah, and we're fast forwarding. We were a little behind there. Yeah, it looks like it's a hung jury and the case is over. And I called it because I scheduled us a drunk girl hour at 1 o'clock Eastern today just to make sure that we had something to do for them to interrupt. So, yes, we're going to have a drunk girl Monday at 1 o'clock Eastern, 12 o'clock where it counts, 11 o'clock on Mountain Time, and 10 o'clock on the West Coast today, where we're going to review drunk girl videos, because apparently this drunk girl just got away with murder. Yay.
Nay.
I mean, what the what? Hung jury. Just... I mean... Yeah. I guess we don't have... I guess we don't have to worry about the Kate Peter versus Turtle Boy versus Jen Mikado versus Lauren Murray versus Lindsay Gaiatini restraining order showdown today, because this is the last day. This is it. It's over.
Well, it'll give us something to do in the future when they retry this case.
I don't think it's going to retrial. I think it will.
I think they will.
I think they need somebody with Lally to co-prosecute. I think they had a point that they need somebody who could be a little more energetic. And they definitely need to get all of their shit together if they're going to re-prosecute this. I mean,
Yeah,
this is just... Go ahead.
I think Lally's probably very good on a paper case, something that has a little less like emotional involvement with it, but it was rough to get through Lally, which if it was rough for us, I can't imagine what it was like for the jury. They can't just go have a break and turn it off for a minute.
Well, I think he did a workmanlike presentation. He went straight through the numbers, but he really wasn't, compared to Jackson, who could just get up there and bullshit and make everybody hate him. He just wasn't there, as a litigator. He was boring, and the facts didn't come together the way that they should have.
Well, here's the thing. I think Jackson did not get a good result. Right? He needed a not guilty in order to have a successful result. He did not get that. He got a hung jury. So she still has the possibility of charges being refiled against her in the future. So is it money well spent? I don't know. I mean, you got a hung jury, so at least you're not in jail. Yet.
Yeah.
Right. I think the focus was with her health issues to keep her out of jail for as long as possible, because it is a degenerative disease that she has. So I guess it could be a success if you look at it in that light.
Well, it's a tremendous success for Turtle Boy because he did everything possible to poison this jury. He did everything possible to poison the Commonwealth of Massachusetts to get what he wants. He's going to do this again, and you can be sure of that because he's getting what he wants out of this. He's got his major motion picture, he's got his podcast coming, he's got his book deal, and he may be going to jail, but will he? After this shit show? After what they just did, will they be able to prosecute him for witness intimidation?
Sure.
Well, I think those are, absolutely. Those are separate and apart.
Yeah. Also, just because he says he has a major motion picture doesn't mean it's happening, and
it has been confirmed. The group has been confirmed.
Okay, there are a lot of things that are pitched that never make it to TV or motion picture. So,
yeah,
I believe it when I see it.
It was the group, apparently, according to online reports, it's the group that did the failed Whitney Houston I Want to Dance with Somebody biopic is the one that is actually doing this for Aiden.
Okay.
So I don't know if that's a step above a Lifetime movie. I don't know, but yeah. And hey, Karen. Hey, Facebook Karen. And hey, all of our viewers on Twitter. We've got a ton of you today. So to recap...
Hey, Karen on Facebook!
To recap for Becca and the others joining us, basically the jurors sent another note that they were hopelessly deadlocked after about an hour and a half of deliberating this morning. They came back with a note saying that it's not going to happen. The prosecution was able to put on, say that, hey, it hasn't even been enough time yet. The defense said, no, this is the second time they said they were hopelessly deadlocked. So that's that. The judge is now got the jury, and they are petitioning the jury, I guess, to see what's going on. But it looks like, as of now, that it's a hung jury. This case will be dismissed by the time we go live later. Yeah, okay,
Maybe
Gia,
we'll have
I'll
a
check
break.
the
Maybe
notes.
we'll have a breakdown of what the final count was.
Maybe, but Aiden is going to be insufferable after this. And just remember, too, that Aiden's charges are more against the institution of justice and the actual court itself. Like, his actions threaten the adjudication of law. And, in contrast with this case, which was, harm against a person. So the
Okay,
court
just jumping
is
in,
going to take it differently.
just jumping in. We've got more coming. Looks like she will be instructing the jury that this was an expensive and time-consuming. Again, this is coming from Aiden, who is within the courtroom. That's Turtle Boy. We'll be giving a stern message to the jury that it's been time-consuming, it's expensive, and they have to go and deliberate more, apparently. So it may not be over yet, folks. It may not be over yet, but that is what's coming from the courtroom right now.
You mean there might be fan interference, so the catch was no catch.
No catch, and we're back just as we say that. I hear the court coming back in session.
I hear the clickety-clack of heels on the hardwood.
Yes.
Court is in session, please be seated.
All right. So, jurors, I am in receipt of your note. Judge Cannoni, despite our commitment to the duty entrusted to us, we find ourselves deeply divided by fundamental differences in our opinions and state of mind. The divergence in our views are not rooted in a lack of understanding or effort, but deeply held convictions that each of us carry, ultimately leading to a point where consensus is unattainable. We recognize the weight of this admission and the implications it holds. So, Mr. Foreman and members of the jury, I have an instruction for you. Our Constitution and laws provide that in a criminal case, the principal method for deciding questions of fact is the verdict of a jury. In most cases, and perhaps strictly speaking in all cases, absolute certainty cannot be attained, nor is it expected. The verdict to which each juror agrees must, of course, be his or her own verdict, the result of his or her own convictions, and not merely an acquiescence in the conclusions of the other jurors. Still, in order to bring 12 minds to a unanimous result, you must examine the issues you have to decide with candor and with a proper regard and respect for each other's opinions. You should consider that it is desirable that this case be decided. You have been selected in the same manner and from the same source as any future jury would be selected. There is no reason to suppose that this case will ever be submitted to 12 persons who are more intelligent, more impartial, or more competent to decide it than you are, or that more or clearer evidence will be produced at another trial. With all this in mind, it is your duty to decide this case if you can do so conscientiously. In order to make a decision more attainable, the law always imposes the burden of proof on the Commonwealth to establish every essential element of each indictment beyond a reasonable doubt. If you are left with a reasonable doubt as to any essential element of any indictment, then the defendant is entitled to the benefit of that doubt and must be found not guilty on that indictment. In conferring together, you ought to give proper respect to each other's opinions and listen with an open mind to each other's arguments. Where there is disagreement, those jurors who would find the defendant not guilty should consider whether the doubt in their own minds is a reasonable one. If it makes no impression upon the minds of the other jurors, who are equally honest and equally intelligent, who have heard the same evidence with the same attention, who have an equal desire to arrive at the truth, and who have taken the same oath as jurors. At the same time, those jurors who would find the defendant guilty ought seriously to ask themselves whether they may not reasonably doubt the correctness of their judgment if it is not shared by other members of the jury. They should ask themselves whether they should distrust the weight or sufficiency of the evidence if it has failed to convince the minds of their fellow jurors beyond a reasonable doubt. I will now ask you, Mr. Foreman, and members of the jury to return to your deliberations with these instructions in mind. And as with my final instructions and the supplemental instructions I sent in, I will send in a copy of this charge as well. All right, so may that be marked, Madam Court Reporter, please. All right, so thank you. We'll send you folks back out to deliver.
All rise for the court, please.
Yeah.
Follow me.
That is Peggy O'Keefe, the victim's mother.
You are muted.
So
Goodbye.
that's... Hold on, let me... Mute
Sergeant,
Prime Network.
Sergeant.
So that's it for now. They were just sent back to try again. That's the second time. This is an important one. If they do not come back with a verdict after this, well, that's it. You know, it's a hung jury. I don't know where we go from here. I know that, yes, as our side chat on YouTube is saying, Aiden Turtleboy Kearney is going to be very, very, very out of control, even after the non-dismissal right now. What do you think?
Mm-hmm. I think regardless of how this case goes, he's going to be unbearable. I don't think it matters.
Right.
He's going to find something.
He's been spending the weekend tweeting that this case is about him, not Karen Reed. That people hate him, not Karen Reed. That the protesters are there because of him, not Karen Reed. That everything about this case, from the organizations of the crowd outside to the fundraising efforts for Karen Reed's defense, are about him, not Karen Reed.
So weird.
Of course.
So that is Aiden Turtleboy Kearney. You've probably seen him. Well, he's no longer allowed on court TV. He's been making appearances on Fox News and will probably appear in the noon hour if he's already waddled his way out of the courtroom to go running to his newfound home.
I think you said that incorrectly, by the way. It's Fox.
Go ahead.
It's Fox. It was just a stroll through the Capitol on January 6th news.
Okay. Just a stroll. Anywho, we're going to wrap up here. We will be back at 1 o'clock Eastern, noon where it counts, 11 o'clock Mountain Time, and 10 o'clock on the West Coast for our Drunk Girl Theater. Yes, a special Drunk Girl. Hopefully we'll be interrupted by the news that some sort of verdict has been reached, but it's lunch hour there. It probably won't interrupt. So thank you for joining us. We'll be back if anything else happens in this case today. Hopefully it does. And any last words, guys?
Yes, for all of those who purchased the Nothing Burger, we appreciate your support.
Yes,
Nom, nom, nom,
we
nom, nom.
do. Take care. We'll see you at 1 o'clock.
Bye.